Okay, so we can start today with the sixth day, the boot camp, the overview of the project demo. Okay, so you will get some kind of overview what will happen in the next four, because already I no means mentioned in the 4 months course. So like this kind of project overview will help you to, if you are self learner, you will get an overview. This way, the real time IT industry projects are working. So that is the reason I implemented two projects here, so that will help you give an overview how it work at all. Then we will moving into the career part discussion and all. So that will be the prime focus today. And if you have any kind of doubts or something, you can clear with me. And tomorrow also I will help you the people. So tomorrow also, if you don't have time, because Good Friday, I know people are very busy on their home in hanging and all. But if I don't able to attend today's session, they can also attend tomorrow. So that will be the prime focus. So anyway, way I will start the recording. I already started. Yeah. So I will share my screen. Okay. The first thing will be I will give you an overview. This is kind of a project we need to do in a computer, means in our main courses and all. We need to give at least 2 weeks of time to do these kind of things. And in the companies also, I will tell you how the architecture is working like that. First, if you get a client and if you in the company, if someone is coming and they are able to do like an agreement, the first step will be the agreement making with the client and our architect team. And they will ask kind of information like these are the requirement they have. This is their selling platform, and they need this kind of information storing that kind of tables. So gathering the information is the first step. Discussion, after we will be gathering the information. Okay, so give me 1 minute. I will explain with the help of a demo. Okay, so the in the project step, okay, project gathering is the step I'm explaining. The first step me like first step discussion. Okay, discussion with the client, discussion with the client. So this is the first step. So this time what will happen, all the requirement, because client is coming to the company, they have a huge requirement, maybe million or billions of transaction will happen in a particular client itself. So that is the first step, and they will be given overview or idea to where the project team. Okay, project team, they will give an idea. This is our requirement. They have load or 10 billion. Okay, 10 billion data into the cloud, or they need to load 10 billion data migration. Okay, data migration from on premises. In the previous 10 years, they used all the data stored in their SQL server or Oracle server anywhere. But currently, the cloud will be implemented. So they need an Azure cloud, and they need to move all their data in 10 million or 1 billion data into the cloud. So that is the data migration project. Projects are different categories. I will explain you. So this is the second thing. So once get the like a BI or business analyst is there, they gather this kind of information, then come back to our project team, and with the architect, they will discuss with the project manager and architect. Okay, so that will be the third step. Architect. Architect discussion. Okay, architect discussion. So this will be the third step. Once architect discussion is completed, they will do like they will gather the team leads and all. Okay, team leads. So the team leads, what will happen? Leads code is there maybe. The leads code, they will arrange the final discussion, table design. Okay, like in the software engineering, it is called as system design. So table design, what are the tables we need, and what are the challenges? Okay, challenges will face in this project and all. Then some kind of doubt will be there. Okay, maybe in the e-commerce platform and all, some kind of doubts also they will mention. These are the doubts and need to clear from the cloud client itself. So doubts clearing, doubts, these are the fourth step. Once we get these kind of information, the BA, business analyst, move to client, Then they will gather another set of information and then come back. So almost all the set of data in our hand, we need to go directly go designing the framework, wireframe. So that will be the next step. What are the tables needed and foreign key and the primary key? What are the columns they need? Any extra columns they need? So these are the things will be go into the next step. Okay. So I will give you that also. In our example, what I am telling like yesterday's class, I already mentioned this is our Azure Data Engineering project, e-commerce platform project. So here, when you look at this image, you can see like the client need a Amazon. Example, Amazon service. They need to create same like an Amazon service website. So that will be their requirement. But it is more efficient because 1 billion or 10 billion data will come there. They need to handle it very efficiently. So that is the reason they need that kind of data inbuilt. So this is the next step when the architect checked with the leaders like seniors in the group or leads in the group, they will design this group like this dimension table, fact table, everything. For example, in the sales case, it will be like date key, time key, because in a particular second itself, more people, more customers are placed in their product and on. So that will be another challenge. So in the worldwide, it will be using. So the efficiency of the product will be high. So we need to deliver a good product. Then only client will accept. So that time, what will do? They are everything like date key, time key, customer key, product key, promotion key, website. So it depends. The list will be depends based on the requirement. So once we get, for example, I will take the customer dimension. When they will only mention they have a sales table, they have a customer table, they have some type of advertising or anything that they mention. But the rest of the tables, like for example, timetable, that is our responsibility. Okay, as a data engineer, we are responsible to finding these kind of tables. So when you're doing these kind of tables, because you have real life exposure or learning somewhere else, you can design these kind of thing. Otherwise, you will lag, you will miss these kind of tables. And what will happen at the end? The performance issue will happen. So you don't know about these things. You need to escalation these issues. So that kind of thing definitely happen. So that is the reason I'm telling like we need to include these kind of thing in our syllabus. Then when you design this project end to end, you will get better clarity how the things will work. If you are a designer, for example, 8 years or 9 years of experience after, it will be like an architect, data architect. Or if you know these things in your initial stage of career, you have get good promotions from your company itself, because this kind of a deep concept we already know. For example, here sales fact table they already mentioned, but time dimension table we need to track each of the second or each of the millisecond whoever plays the data or product. So that is the reason we are time dimension table be implemented. Then next one will be the date dimension, when the days number month. So and physical year, quarter. This is kind of an calculation, physical year and current calendar year. These are the calculation how many profit they make in a physical year and a calendar year. So that also is a hidden table like we need to know when you design these kind of platform. Then website dimension, navigation, data warehouse, advertising dimension. Maybe something we can exclude, but definitely this kind of thing is very important. Then the next step, once we completed the tables, we need to know which are the tables, fact table, which are the tables are under the dimension table. Okay, so here in this case, you can see like that sales table increasing every day. For example, people are placing lot of in the Amazon festivals are there. So that time the peak will be high. We need to buy more servers from the Azure, means cloud. Then only it will be, because everyone is trying to access the site. The site will be lag. So without causing these kind of issue, what will we need to purchase some kind of vending option from Azure. Then everyone can access. So that time, what will happen? We need to use the sales table. Then next will be This kind of table. For example, customer table. Customer table, their address already fixed. Almost time it will be fixed. One time they will enter, it will be fixed. Maybe some slight changes like address and all, it will be changed. So that is the reason it is under the dimension table. There is not much updation happening on the record. But in the case of sales table, there are a lot of updation is happening because when you're entering, when you place an order, this is one record. Then next order, that is another record. That means we cannot predict how many records will be available there. So that is the reason it is fact and dimension. So important interview question also, you need to make sure you must know the correct idea about what is the difference between fact and dimension table. Okay, yes, so that is important. Once we design these kind of information like a wireframe or design, we are moving into the next portion, how we can migrate our data into the cloud. So here you can see like we are designing an e-commerce platform table like sales table, data table, and date tables, customer table, product table, time, everything as a table format we mentioned because they already stored the data somewhere or in the we need to push the data into the Azure data factory. So that is the reason we need to establish a connection. Azure keyword using anything, we need to establish a secure connection, and once the secure connection is established, we can connect these things into the Azure data factory for the extracting the data. So once the extraction and data, we need to transform any kind of transformation. For example, SCD1, SCD2, like incremental load, everything I will explain. I already explained yesterday's video, I think, because maybe some requirement like they need to delete the existing record, load the data again. So that time will be SCD2. But sometimes they need to whatever the data, because in the sales table, whatever the data is updated, that only we need to append. So that time SCD1 will be the better. So that portion also we can do with the help of Databricks. Important interview question also. Then once we complete this one, we can save to somewhere. Means processed, optimized data we can store somewhere. You can use Azure SQL database. We can use. Otherwise, the best solution is Azure Synapse Analytics. In the Azure Synapse Analytics, we can like a data warehouse. Previously, it was known as data warehouse, but currently it is known as Azure Synapse Analytics. It has the capabilities of all the data factory, plus there is a storage account also. You can save the data and you can connect into the Power BI to produce more and visualizing in a better way to client can. This is kind of an impressive way. We can impress the client. And with the help of Power BI, we can impress them like bar graph, line graph, anything we can implement. And machine learning, if you're really to implement, because maybe clients are eager to wait some kind of machine learning model. So machine learning model, ARIMA, SARIMA, machine learning, different models are available. Based on that one, we can predict and how many sales will happen in the next 2 to 3 months. Okay, so that kind of trainings or implementation also we can do with the Databricks. So these kind of things we can suggest to client, they will impress. You got the point, right? So this way we need to create a when you're getting a chance to implement a project from the scratch, this way we need to do. So I think that is the reason I designed this course. I will add this course from end to end. Everyone can do from from the starting stage to ending. Then you will, if you get any kind of interview calls or if you get any kind of practical level of means in the company itself, you can suggest them, oh, these are the things, then they will impress. I think you clear. So it will take some time because we need to, by hands-on we are doing, maybe we need to create every tables and we need to configure it. Azure Databricks we need to configure, and Power BI we need to configure, Git is configure, everything we need to configure. So it will take, I think, maybe 1 to 2 weeks of time. Then only we can complete end-to-end project we will get. I think clear. So this way, what we can do when we doing these kind of things every day, like every practical, we can it will like we can suggest. This is like a one project e-commerce platform. the different scenario will be different. So I will tell you what are the scenarios, what are the tables you can implement that also help you to understand better in-depth knowledge of everything regarding the Azure data engineering. Then coming to data pipeline, I will tell you. Here we need to mention about trigger implementation in the data factory. What are the things I will mention here? Okay, for the ADF kind of concept, we need to know um, ADF. So when you implement the ADF, first you need to understand what is linked service and how it will be connecting to the key vault. Okay, key vault or authentication for the secure data transferring. Maybe it will be some of the project it will be done by a separate team, but some of the project as a data engineer need to do. It is depends on the project team and size. So linked service and Azure Key Vault. So what will happen? We can securely transfer data into the ADF. So this is the one case. The second case will be we need to identify source of data. Okay, source of data. Like maybe it will be coming from completely coming from SQL servers or SAP systems or Oracle or like a manual files like CSV, Excel, etc. etc. So the second step we need to understand clear understanding of what are the data format are available, what are the data source are available. Then only we can design the pipeline. So that is also as the requirement gathering step. Then once we complete this portion, we can move into the activities. Maybe some of the activities like copy, because copy activity is the data movement, because three categories there: transformation activity, data movement activity, and we can validate it, control flow activities. So in the copy activities like a data movement activities, moving the data from one location to another, means from the source to target. So we are using the copy activity, and with the copy activity we need to implement lot more things. We need to very careful about designing these kind of things. So that are incremental load. Okay, incremental load, is it incremental load or something? So that also important. Then any primary key manipulation, JSON mapping. Okay, JSON mapping. JSON mapping important. JSON mapping or not. Then it will be source system. Is a header containing files on in any spaces or not? So that removal. Then loading millions of partition strategy. Important one, partition strategy. So these are the things we need to very careful when you perform the ADF. Then the next part, once we implemented, the data is moved into the cloud. What will happen? The production. Okay. In the production case, also we need to very careful. We need to monitor data flow every day. So then only at least it went into the production after next 1 week or 2 weeks. We need to monitor any partition issues, failures are there, any kind of sticky things, maybe the issues are there. So that we need to very careful. Then very important thing is trigger implementation. Okay, trigger implementation also very important. Triggers are different type. First one will be the schedule trigger. Schedule trigger. I already mentioned the previous thing. There are like triggers and batch processing and stream processing. In the batch processing, we need to implement schedule trigger because daily we need to load the data, or means weekly we need to load the data. Monthly we need to load the data. It is purely based on the client requirement. Maybe some clients are asking like when you place the folder, okay, when you, I will tell you like these are important. I will save this one. Okay, download. Okay, this is I will share with you. Okay, some kind of I will tell you here. I will tell you triggers, right? Okay. Triggers, schedule trigger. The next one will be the event trigger. This is very important. Event trigger. Okay, so some customers will ask you to, when there is a folder, they will place every day. Okay, every day they will upload their closing document. Every day you need to process it. This kind of real life experience or real life scenarios you will get. So they will upload files every day into this folder. As a data engineer, we are responsible to load the data into the cloud platform. Okay, into the cloud platform. So this is our requirement. So this time we need to use the event trigger. Then only we can upload the data, and daily we can set whatever the time the data is coming. Maybe sometime you need to give us ad hoc. This is very often. Sometimes they will early upload the data. So that time what will happen, whatever there's a trigger will be helped to move the data into the cloud. This is also very important. Then there is an customized triggers we can also apply. Then the tumbling window, different triggers are there based on our requirement. We need to choose it and upload it, then only it will work. Otherwise it will not be a correct thing. So these are the concepts you need to understand in depth when you do this kind of project. So that is the important thing. Then coming into our, okay, so once we get the data here, okay, here the extraction or ADF pipeline take the data, then moving into the Databricks. In the Databricks, I already mentioned like SCD1 and SCD2. Databricks is aggregate function. If you load to large amount of data, and to aggregate function, you need to perform any kind of loading into some table, partition with the help of partitions. Mainly transformation is the prime focus of the Databricks. Fastly we can do these things. And the collaboration space, if it is providing the collaboration space, because if I can do at the same time my teammate also do, once we complete our work we can collaborate. So these kind of help they will give. And multiple program availability. For example, Python, it is supported, Scala is supported, Java, SQL, R, everything is supported in the Databricks frame. But only one concern is like it is very costly when you learn running these things. It will take a lot of money. So that is the only one thing. Then if you need fast and better loading of data, you can increase the configuration. But based on the configuration we change, the cost will be high. So that is the only thing. Then the next one will be the SQL deep. This is I just added here, but if you don't need to the reporting DB, we can add another DB like any Synapse Analytics we can implement. Synapse Analytics, they will save the data, then connecting to the Power BI visualization will help. So this is the first kind of project we will do. Extensive thing I will explain with you once we, because I already mentioned it will take some time. So that is the reason this is the first project. Then there are a lot of scenarios, lot of pipeline will be there dealing with the multiple data sources. I already told you like manual files and different storage accounts we need to implement. So that will be including this portion. Complete commercial e-commerce platform. Then coming into our second project overview, it is like a symbol. This is a big project, but one more thing we need to know, we need to understand one very important, means frequently occurring, and interviewer are always asking this kind of project. Why I am telling like that, I will give you. This is the second project. This is a migration project. Why migration project is important like that? Companies in the previous 2020, previously before COVID, companies were serving their own on-premises data and all. Once they put this kind of thing, what will happen? They store the data in your local servers, local items and all. But once the COVID is come, before it was the cloud is increasing, demand is increasing. But after COVID, all people are going to the work from home and data. This is very important. Okay. essential for our community. Then they migrate all the data into the Azure storage or any other cloud. With the help of any other cloud, they store the data. So that time what will happen? We need to store all the data from the on-premise. Maybe 10 years, 12 years, they save their data in the on-premises. So that everything we need to migrate into the cloud. So that is the second kind of migration project. I will give you this kind of migration project. Before we used to polybase or something, but currently we don't need to add those kind of important thing. We can purely migrate, but some kind of restrictions also there, so that we need to overcome. So the migration project, there is an on-premises SQL system is there, millions of data, because 10 years, 12 years, 20 years of data was available in the system. So that we need to store into the cloud with the help of efficient method like using the data partition and all. Otherwise, it will not load. And configuration, that also important. Key values finding. So this is the overview, like SQL on-premises system to the Azure Data Factory, and we can store the databases or any other storage account data like Gen 1 or Gen 2. And if you need to perform some kind of data bricks like transformation, if the null values are in the row, we can omit this, duplicate, we need to remove it. So these kind of you need to implement. You can add one Databricks also with the high configuration. Then only we can load this much of data into the cloud. Then at large, we need to load the data into the Power BI. Why Power BI is important? If you get some kind of input, because maybe you can tell me in front of the client, uh, mm, actually we completed this kind of project, but they will ask some kind of proof. So when you add this Power BI, what will happen? It will be displaying if any table is missing, they will be showing there. And any errors are there, any pipeline is failing, that also we can show in the Power BI. Then client only need to show very short instance. Don't need, for example, if you're watching the TV, we are just watching the TV, right? Only the display. We don't need to know about whatever happened inside that TV. The same thing in the client, they want only the perfect display in front of them. They don't need to bother about what are the code in doing in the background or what other things or errors are available in the background. So the same case of TV, it will be if it is smooth and playing, displaying is good, we all are really impressed watching it for longer time. We will be there. But if it's some error is happening, we will lose our thinking. We are seeing this one. We will stop our seeing the visualizing this TV, right? So the same thing happening in the client also. When you deliver a good product and with a good Power BI visualization tool, them they will be long in the particular company, and the work will be get longer and longer. But at the same time, every time you are showing some errors and you are not visible in something, they will lose their hope, and also the project will be migrate to another company or something. So the Power BI, that is the reason whatever the client want, everything we will be displaying with the help of Power BI. Then we can move and launch this one in front of the client. They will be happy. We all are happy. So that is the importance of migration project. But only one challenge I'm telling like you, when you move this much of data, you need to optimize. You need to use the optimized queries in the SQL part. Then only load data optimized. You can use DBT somewhere. You need to use some kind of queries, unwanted queries you can remove and find to check which is the best way to load these things. Okay, so that is very important. Then, what are the prerequisites? Okay, so first thing, when you migrating the data, know the nature of data. Okay, how the data is flowing. Is it daily we need to load? How many counts are analysis of the counts of data? Billion, million, or how many? We need to know the exact count of the data. Okay, then source system. Source system, is it SQL server or Oracle server? Anything we need to know this also. Then suitable integration runtime. Okay, I will tell you. When you ask in the interview, they will ask this question like, how the step by step can you explain the migration project? Okay, or migrating data from on premises to cloud. So when you get this kind of question, you need to say like, first thing, we need to know the source data like SQL Server, for example, and a data format like SQL DB and SQL format, or you can simply saying like that. Second will be which integration runtime we need to use. Then they will ask what are the integration runtime. You need to answer three integration runtimes are available: Azure integration runtime, self-hosted integration runtime, and Azure SSIS integration runtime. Here, self-hosted integration runtime is better to use the migration project. So you need to explain a self-hosted integration runtime. Then we need to connect a linked service to secure transferring data between the client and means in the on-premises to cloud. Then data format, SQL Server. Then the Azure integration, you can make copy activity or something. Same way in the target also we need to mention the storage account where we need to store the data. Then if you want, you can add the trigger and trigger definitely add. So this is kind of flow you need to explain step by step. Then you can clear those kind of interview rounds. Then here I have mentioned like suitable integration runtime, then trigger implementation. Then they will ask some kind of question like what are the triggers? You need to mention like event trigger, storage account, tumbling window trigger, custom trigger. So these also you can mention. Then pipeline implementation. Because once the pipeline is a logical grouping of activity, if you want to transfer this data, one activity like copy activity, or we need to check lookup also. I will tell you everything. I will tell you after this one. So then you will get better understanding. Then security, Azure security implementation. Then only transfer data with secure. Then finding suitable storage spaces. Implementation by implement partition strategy. Partition strategy means, for example, 10 years of data. 10 years of data means 10 million data. Okay, one partition contain 1 million data. So we, based on the year and date, we will be load the data into the cloud. So that is the reason they are mentioned like partition, implement the partition. Then Databricks implementation. Databricks also we can implement with the help of these things. So these are the main step we need to understand when it comes into the data migration project. Once you get a clear idea about this one, you can give this like of overview to client, then create a document and mention these are the things, then send it to them. Then verify them, is it correct or not. So then only you will get, if there is any kind of things they need to add, they will ask, they will add it. Otherwise, we don't want to give anything. You just go for it. So this is kind of another project, migration project. Okay, so these are the two projects, like an overview I am giving. There are two more project is there. So that is for the Prime. Already in the Prime members already joined for the guys. I will share with them. This kind of roadmap. If you are a self-learner, this kind of roadmap definitely help with you, because when you understanding rather than you are don't understanding anything, it will help more. Okay, team. Actually, this is the point of things. Yeah, I'm just any doubt you have? Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, you can type in the chat if you have any doubt. Then we can move into the. I will share this document and all. Then I will share this document also for better understanding in our group. Team, you can type or you can hand. You can raise your hand. I will unmute you and I will ask for our career discussion part. These are the two simple implementation, and two more discussion we need to do that will help for better understanding everything like that. Okay, I'm just stop this recording because career discussion part we don't want to disclose anyone, right? So I'm just stopping this recording.